Okay, what's up, Solana? This bad boy, the range is still doing what it does. You got this range from the high right here, put it more accurate to the low, right, of the range. Sustaining just fine. Death cross coming. It's gonna take a few more days yet. But this isn't anything that's new. Okay, this isn't anything. It's still within its tight range. You got an M formation that just came back up to basically erase every single thing that was going down. There was a lot of selling that was coming in and just came back up just to claim, close out those sells, right? For every buyer, there's a seller, right? So for every seller that there's a buyer, this is the buyers coming in because there's a lot more selling that's happening, right? Either way, you got a lower high right now with this wick, okay, and this trend. So if you watch the Bitcoin videos, same deal, all right, same deal. We are in a tight range right now between this diamond formation and this already dropped right through it, right? So the moving average has already moved right through it. But the diamond formations, we're beneath it right now. And if anything, this is where you're going to want to really pay attention to whether or not it's going to react yet, because this is what I think it's going to end up doing just first. The double bottom formation or the W formation that you see here, it doesn't mean it's going to skyrocket up. Okay, you're getting a lot of distribution that comes in as soon as it crosses above the 21. I would say it can do this kind of move to where it really just keeps chopping and dancing around the trend line here to keep moving, keep holding its range right here for a time being, because there's a lot of interest, it seems to be, right in this area right here. And it doesn't mean it needs to stay right there permanently or for a long time, right? It just means that whatever the case is here, it is being offered out into Bitcoin. Whenever this outperforms Bitcoin, it's going right into Bitcoin. And that's why Bitcoin's sustaining, bringing its dominance back up higher and higher and higher and higher. Okay, so this is what I need you to watch out for, is that if it gets above the 21, just look at how it gets above the 21. You really have to start respecting these averages, start treating them like they're your boss. Because if it gets above it, it's going to say time to sell it, and you can see time to sell it, time to sell it, time to sell it, time to sell it, time to sell it. It is downtrend right now. On the uptrend, it gets below it. Time to buy it, time to buy it, time to buy it, right? Time to sell it, time to sell it. It starts showing these trend, right? So how do you know when it's time to sell and time to buy? When it's how to react to the 21? 666 above it, distribution. 666 below it, accumulation. So when it's above the 666, you're buying, you're buying, you're buying, you're buying. Okay? You're buying, you're buying, buying. That is the distribution part to where it's going up because it's already came down to accumulate like this. It's already came down to accumulate. In fact, the best thing right now is to look at it is in not the 666 just yet, but because the 333 is above it, is the reason why you got this longer term, shorter term trend to where investors are more favoring this shorter term um, trend, meaning that when you get these kind of moves that do this, where they come down and they don't break through and they actually bounce off of these 666 this way, then instead of going down to accumulate like this, like a typical bear market accumulation to recover would look like, if it doesn't do that and it does something like this to where it comes down, the W formation, and continues, then that's what I'm saying, that is where it becomes a bit more dangerous, to where you start to look at this 333 because it's shorter term. Shorter term is what I'm getting to that if it doesn't stay down there, it bounces off above it, and that means that you should switch to short-term sentiment right away. Shorter term sentiment means that you go to the shorter term average, because this right now is going to be away from it for a very long time, or not for a very long time, but for some time, right? And as you can see, it gets above it like that, it starts to yield momentum. The first wave, second wave, third wave. So you got this really big wave like that, and there could be another one, right? There could be another one that goes back up. And like I'm saying, that this, like Bitcoin, it's the same deal. that if Bitcoin's been moving up like that, you can also expect this to be some sort of head and shoulders formation, okay? To where it climbs back up into this uh, death cross that's coming, right? It comes right back into the death cross, only to then roll over again. Okay, is what I'm getting to break this finally. But does it mean it's gonna go up? No, I think it's gonna come down and test this multiple times, like this. Like it's gonna do it 4 times in a row, right? So it's probably like this is probably 1, this is 2, so 3, right, and then 4, right, something like that. To where it'll do something similar to that. Does it have to be exact like that? No, but this is something to stand on, right? Something to look at. And to break this, to look at how this is going to move, you got to look at the dominance too. I mean, the dominance is just doing higher lows and higher highs. So it's not smart to bet on this guy actually finding its trend back up. You're about to get a death cross. I'd wait for the death cross to commit first by getting the death cross and actually getting the commitment to come in. Not like this, by getting the commitment to come in, by showing you that it does this, down to the downside, and then it comes right into the death cross. Okay, and that's where you're gonna want to start longing it is at these levels. Okay, but watch for the fourth time. I would be careful at the fourth time there, because if you won this time, that's once, right? Usually, if you win 3 times in a row, you pretty much want to watch out, right? That's what I'm saying. You win one time, you longed it, you win. You longed it again, you win again. You long it again, that's 3. Third time it kind of like shows that, yeah, it's getting weaker or stronger, right? Lower high or a higher low. It's a higher high still, right? It's like still going higher highs, so you're in the channel. And then the fourth time comes around, you're like, yeah, it's gonna do it again, and then it doesn't. See? And then it falls down into this lower range to where it meets this previous support, which makes this a head and shoulders, is what I'm saying. Okay, so be careful with that. Which it's the fade. It's getting towards the fadeaway. That fadeaway part is where you're gonna get screwed over pretty hard if you don't pay attention. All right, and it could look like this. It could just be the same old deal like this, to where it just takes the same amount of time, okay, as this. And that's why I'm saying you really want to be careful when it comes down to this, because it might be the same formation as this. It's the same. If it's the same formation as this, then that just means that you're going to get some sort of a longer term move that might take some time to actually what do you call it, to actually fill itself up. But doesn't mean it's going to get back up to 158. You know, yeah, I mean, you're inside of this range. In the middle of the range right there has a lot of resistance. All right, has a lot of resistance, and the cross is coming, so this will only make sense if this thing goes like this, right into the cross, where it pumps right into the cross. That's Solana. Okay, so am I saying it's going to go down? I think that Solana has a major higher percentage of going down, because the dominance is still going up, and because the narration of Bitcoin isn't over yet. I think it's still digging its roots into the dollar and gold and into the system, that it's still the number one, still the king. So until Bitcoin makes a new high, yeah, sure, we hit 126. That is a new high, but I'm talking about an overall massive breakout, is what I mean. Until Bitcoin breaks out, like how Bitcoin broke out of 20,000 back in 2020, going into 2021. Until it looks like that, then we can start talking about altcoins. Doesn't matter if it's ETH, doesn't matter if it's Solana, doesn't matter. Yeah, until then, we don't call for any major upsides. We only call for resets, which resets are going back to the scene of the crime, like this, the red line here, where you get the crosses, right? Even all the way over here, scene of the crime, all right? So these levels are what I'm looking for, 74 and 37. Okay, those are the levels I'm looking for. This trend line that's going down, this white one, this one right here is actually one of the ones that is should pay attention to at the same time. Okay, see that? It's going down on this trend line. And if you're a pattern person, if you're looking at this in pattern formation, you should look at it in the same way that it is flowing right here, to where it is cat ears, okay, in a formation like this. Okay, and you do know that these formations like that, they do have something that eventually rolls over before it goes, right? And it's only technical move. So does this mean it's going to happen the exact same way? No, it doesn't. All right, it doesn't have to happen the exact same way, but it does have its higher probabilities of it turning out that way. All right, so that's Solana. I'd say wait. You don't have to follow this exactly. I'm just using this as a fractal to repeat. It could go back up to the same, level that this had resistance, which is back up to here when it's 187, 186. It could, okay, because technically when you get these cross of this, you could get this thing to where it goes. Let me get rid of this first, and then I will do this exact scenario to where this goes crossing like that, and it gets right back into the cross, only to go up and then straight back down. Okay, something like that. That's what I'm saying, to where it can do something similar to that, right? But in the way that the price action is really moving here, you don't really have that much inflow. You don't. So when you don't have that much inflow, it's only fair to say that you would get some sort of, cheaper version of that, right? Which is kind of like the dead cat that you call it, right? Which only goes up about back to this halfway of the range and then just crawl back into the lower level of the range. It's not exactly of it, but I'm expecting this thing to be weak because it is weak. All this is weak. All right, this recovery here in a 1 minute time frame, sure, it looks like a good win, but we don't need to go to that level of it, okay? Because the overall trend is more important. All right, so that's Solana. I would expect all alts that are on Solana to probably have a similar response. Some of them might pump harder than others, but it doesn't matter. I would focus on the blue chips if you don't want to get rugged. All right, like you have a lot less of a chance to get rugged if you don't deal with anything else. Okay, that's Solana. Talk to you guys later.